Hello and welcome to my channel, I Win to Lose Gaming. So it's been a little while since I've updated my tier list for this game, so let's go ahead and finally do that for the first half of patch 1.2. As with any tier list video made by some random dude in their basement, in this case me, this tier list is just my opinion. It goes without saying that you should use your favorite characters because ultimately playing this game is all about having fun, and it's fun to use your favorite characters. This tier list is mainly focused on Memory of Chaos performance, and the higher a character is on this list, the more likely they are to be able to help you clear the more difficult Memory of Chaos stages. And as always, take this tier list with a giant grain of salt. But really quick, have you taken the time to worry about one of the most important topics plaguing modern society today? Why don't we have giant mechs blowing up other giant mechs? Well, worry no more, because today's sponsor is Mech Arena. Mech Arena is a free-to-play online shooter available on both mobile and desktop. It's super responsive as you control a wide array of mechs, dual-wielding all sorts of weapons like cannons, machine guns, rockets, plasma balls, and more. Take your favorite mech into an epic mech-on-mech tournament. These tournaments happen weekly, and you can access them really early on, where you'll be put against other baby mechlet pilots. Participate in chaotic 5v5 deathmatches or free-for-alls where it's every mech for themselves. And at the end of each heat, you'll be showered with resources to upgrade your baby mechlet into a super macho giga chad mechismo. But wait, that's not all. It's Plarium's anniversary, which means there's a new event, Solar Survivor, which has 3 new 5v5 maps, a new legendary Scorpius mech with a javelin array, new weapons like the chain gun, fragment gun, and missiles. He'll be armed to the teeth. Mech Arena is completely free to play on Android, iOS, and PC. Use my personal link or scan the QR code right here to get a free starter pack worth $15, a Prodigy crate, 300 A coins, and Pulse Cannon 4 to start pwning other mechs today. Also, you can add me as your friend via my mech ID, but you gotta be quick. Huge thanks to Mech Arena for sponsoring today's video. So this is where we left off in the second half of patch 1.0, so we are due for an update now that it's the first half of patch 1.2. Now, I decided to edit this tier list in a couple substantial ways. With the first way that you guys have probably already noticed is that I've added an E6 option for all the 4-star characters in the game. I'm still going to leave all these 4-star characters in there as well, because these indicate if those 4-star characters are at E0. In fact, every character on this list without E6, as indicated, is going to be assumed at eidolon 0. However, if I feel like a certain 4-star character's eidolon 1 through 6 somehow bumps them up a tier or something like that, then I will absolutely add this E6 character onto this list. For example, if I feel like at E0 Dan Heng is an A tier character, but let's say at E6 I feel like he's an SS tier character, well, I would just put him right here. Okay, and one more thing we're going to do is we are actually going to add an SS plus tier. So why bother adding an SS plus tier? And this is because I do feel like some of these characters just feel a lot stronger, or just honestly are a bit stronger than even the SS characters. Then you might ask, okay, why not just demote a whole bunch of characters down a tier? I could do that too, but I figured this is less dragging and dropping, and the characters that are going to remain in SS tier honestly still feel like SS tier characters. It's just that some of these SS plus characters just feel a bit better than those SS tier characters. So now with the housekeeping out of the way, let's go ahead and start moving some characters. Starting with both Zila and Bronya. I feel like these two characters definitely stand out compared to the other SS characters, and these two just feel like they're in a league of their own. By now, people probably aren't surprised to see these two just be a cut above the rest, but here they are, and that is where I feel like they belong now. Now, what other adjustments? I think the SS tier, unfortunately, Yanqing just has not really been all that desired lately, and as we get more DPS characters that aren't nearly as annoying to use, as well as situational as Yanqing is, then we're going to start to see some more situational characters like Yanqing scoot down a bit. And also recently it's just not really an ice friendly meta. It's been a lot of wind, a lot of lightning, and a lot of quantum lately, and a bit of physical as well, and a lot of imaginary. So sadly, just right now, Yanqing just feels like he's not really cut out to be in the SS tier. Now, we are kind of considering Memory of Chaos and the seasonal nature of it, and right now, obviously the main endgame content is the Memory of Chaos. So if a character doesn't really feel good there to use, well, that's where we're really ranking them in terms of the tier list. But that will change every single season or so, and therefore, perhaps I'll be updating this tier list every single patch, or perhaps a bit more often depending on how I feel about it. So one other character that I feel like deserves to be adjusted, it's Welt. And okay, let me actually move Yanqing down behind Clara. That's where I meant to put him. But yeah, so we're gonna scoot Welt all the way up to the S tier. And Welt lately has just been feeling really good to use. A lot of enemies have had imaginary weakness, and Welt definitely exploits that, and he definitely has a good amount of single target damage potential as well as AoE damage, and of course he provides a good amount of support as well. Now, up next, I've been debating whether or not to move Jingyuan down to the S tier or to leave him in the SS tier, but right now I feel like since lightning is such a desired element, and he still feels a lot better than the other lightning characters to use, especially at Eidolon 0. I mean, we have our poor boy Razor, Arlen, and we have Serval as well at E0. They just really don't feel good to use, so I do feel like Jingyuan still feels like an SS tier character when you need a lightning DPS character. However, that could and probably will absolutely change once Kafka comes into the picture. We can finally talk about some E6 characters for some 4-star characters, and one of which I feel like needs to be talked about is Tingyuan. Tingyuan's E6, at E6, she just feels exceptionally good to use. However, at E0, I can definitely see her feeling a bit awkward to use. Now, previously when I placed her in SS tier, maybe I was kind of considering, oh, you had maybe 1 eidolon, 2 eidolons for her. So therefore, you know, she could probably justify her SS tier placement here. But since we're kind of filtering out E6 versus E0 characters, I'm going to put E0 Tingyuan in S tier and E6 Tingyuan at the top of the SS tier. We're going to want to actually add E6 Serval to this list. Now, many of you guys might know, but Serval at E6 pretty much does almost the exact same amount of damage as Jingyuan, so it only makes sense for her to be right next to Jingyuan at Eidolon 6. So there she goes, right next to Jingyuan at Eidolon 6. And up next is Qingque. So Qingque has really been taking the community by storm, but she absolutely needs her Eidolons, in particular Eidolon 4 and then Eidolon 6, in order to really start to shine. And she just turns into a completely different character by the time you actually do get her to Eidolon 6. So I'm actually going to put her here. I mean, honestly, I think she's the best 4-star DPS character, especially at Eidolon 6. So yeah, SS tier, and in some situations she can actually outperform Zila, so definitely deserving, in my opinion, of the SS tier placement at Eidolon 6. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's put Eidolon 6 Asta in the SS tier. I do feel like Eidolon 6 Asta feels a lot better than an Eidolon 0 Asta because of the way that her stacks work, how you don't really have to use her skill anymore, as well as the fact that she gets a lot of energy recharge from one of her eidolons. All of these things really help her out a lot to become an even better universal support. So yeah, let's actually do that for Asta. Now for the other 4-star characters, sadly, I'm not gonna place them any higher because of their Eidolon 6s. Next, let's talk about the new characters. We have Blade, we have Yukong, and we have Luocha. So Luocha came first, and Yukong as well, and then we have Blade to talk about. So really we just have 4 potential placements to worry about right now. And if you guys have been playing this game recently, if you guys have Luocha, you guys will know this guy is an absolute Giga Chad. I mean, Luo Giga Chad should honestly be his name. His healing is out of this world. He really does eclipse the other healers, in my opinion. He just feels like an absolutely insane healer right now, and it just doesn't even come close when it comes to the other healers. Like Bailu, you just have so much downtime on her healing. Unless you want to spend skill points, which you generally don't want to do, whereas Luocha really has almost no downtime thanks to the way that his kit works and the fact that he just heals an insane amount with absolutely no skill points. So yeah, absolutely deserving of an SS plus placement for this character. Now up next we have Yukong. Unfortunately, I find Yukong at E0 to be extremely unwieldy to use, and I'm going to put her in the A tier, but I do think she belongs to the top of the A tier, especially at Eidolon 0. Just a very clunky character to use. It's hard to auto her. It's hard to, you know, speed tune her because let's say any of your characters get imprisoned, there's a really good chance that she can basically not buff the DPS character at all anymore after that. So it really becomes a big pain to use her in many situations. However, Eidolon 6 Yukong is an entirely different character, where when you manually control her, it's super easy to provide the DPS character her massive buff whenever you need it. So I'm going to put her in the SS tier, right next to Asta. I believe that these two are, you know, there's many situations where in Eidolon 6 Yukong, this becomes extremely good to use. And finally, the last character, Blade. Obviously, he's an absolute garbage character. I don't know why anyone would use him. Just like the other HP consuming character like Arlen. You know, Blade, he's just like Arlen, but 5 stars and wind. Okay, let's be real, guys. Where are we going to put Blade? Blade is... I've been using him a lot lately, and you know, he's just such a good character. He's so strong whether he's independent. He's so strong. He's even stronger when he's paired with Bronya. He just feels ridiculously good to use right now. And not only that, but he can even solo so many Memory of Chaoses. I believe people have even soloed Memory of Chaos 10 with him already. He's an absolute Giga Chad of a character, and his voice is absolutely stellar as well. The voice lines, voice acting, both English as well as Japanese. This character, I'm a Blade simp, even as emo as he is. So I think I'm going to go all the way and put him in the SS plus tier. Blade right now just feels so insanely good to use. He just does a lot of damage. He sustains himself. He's very durable and yet also not at the same time. It just kind of depends on at what point in the rotation. But either way, this character has really surprised me because his base scalings are so good because he scales off of HP. His multipliers are just really good. His base damage is just really good. And even though he's not that compatible with other supports, like let's say attack buffing supports like Asta and Yukong, as well as Tingyun's attack buff, Blade is still just an incredible character because just that baseline, he's just so powerful. And Blade has really surprised me, in all honesty, with how incredibly good he feels. So just because of that, and just because of my personal bias towards him, I'm going to go all the way and put him in the SS plus tier. Especially if you have Bronya, Blade is going to absolutely dominate and absolutely crush everything in his path. And I actually almost forgot about Silverwolf, but fortunately I remembered just in time. And it goes to without saying that Silverwolf deserves an SS plus tier placement. Her current utility is unmatched by anyone else. She's the only character that can apply a weakness to an enemy that the enemy did not already have. And the fact that she also increases the damage that the enemy takes by a ton with all the defense shred that she provides makes her just an outstanding, incredible character. So yeah, I think nobody's going to be surprised to see her here in the SS plus tier. So yeah, let me know what you think about my tier list. If you think it's absolute garbage, leave a little garbage can emoji down below. Otherwise, if you agree or disagree, let me know as well. If you feel like I've overrated any particular character. I think one of the more contentious placements for me is going to be Jin Yuan because he does have a lot of flaws that you can absolutely feel, like if he gets imprisoned, the Lightning Lord shenanigans and all these problems with that. But in terms of just his damage output right out of the box, he's pretty good. And this also does, you need to ask, do you have a signature light cone? If not, he could definitely be moved down a rank. So yeah, without a signature light cone, maybe there. With a signature light cone, probably here. I probably should have mentioned that earlier. But for now, I'm going to actually just leave him in the SS tier because he's still a pretty decent character, and him being next to Serval, right now again, lightning favored meta. So anyway, another tangent about Jingyuan out of the way. Let me know what you guys think about this tier list, what you agree with and disagree with. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Win to Lose, signing out.